Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. UN Security Council strongly condemns Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam terror attack, calls for action against perpetrators and sponsors. A massive explosion rocks Shahid Raji port in southern Iranian city of Bandar Abbas, over 500 people injured. Russian army says it has fully liberated Kursk region from Ukrainian troops, hails the service of North Korean troops on the battlefield. And around 250,000 people line Rome streets to see Pope Francis' coffin transported from the Vatican to his final resting place. President Draupadi Murmu pays last respects to His Holiness. The UN Security Council has strongly condemned the deadly terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam, calling for accountability and international cooperation to bring the perpetrators of the act to justice. In a statement, Council members expressed their deepest sympathy and condolences to the families of the victims, as well as to the governments of India and Nepal. Ambassadors reaffirmed that terrorism in all its forms and manifestations constitutes one of the most serious threats to international peace and security. They stressed that the perpetrators, organizers, financiers and sponsors must be held accountable and brought to justice. In Jammu and Kashmir, security forces meanwhile have intensified operations across Anantnag district. The Anantnag police, working closely with the army, CRPF and other agencies, have launched widespread search and cordon operations to dismantle terror networks. Multiple raids have been carried out at various locations across Anantnag, with day and night search operations underway. 3 more houses of LET terrorists have been demolished in 3 districts of South Kashmir on Saturday. These are suspected to have been involved in Pahalgam attack. Official sources confirm that a house belonging to terrorist Ehsanul Haq Sheikh of Muran, Pulwama was demolished late on Friday night. Similarly, in Kulgam, the house of terrorist Zakir Ahmed Ghania, who is active since 2023, was destroyed in Matalhama. In Shopian, the house of another terrorist, Shahid Ahmed Kutte, was destroyed in Chotipura. He is active since 2002. Earlier on Friday, houses of 2 terrorists, Asif Ahmed Sheikh Tral and Adil Tokar Bijbehara, were demolished after their involvement in Pahalgam attack came to the fore. So, keeping the deadline of April 27th in mind, large number of Pakistani nationals are reaching the Atari border to complete their formalities. People are turning up with their queries, which are being resolved by the authorities there and then. In total, 219 Pakistani nationals and 392 Indian nationals have crossed the Atari-Wagah border by Friday evening. India revoked all existing visas issued to Pakistanis except long-term visas, diplomatic and official visas with effect from Sunday. All medical visas issued to Pakistani nationals will be valid only till the 29th of this month, and no new visas will be issued in the revoked categories. Anger against Pakistan is growing in Nepal over the Pahalgam terror attack, which also killed 1 Nepali national. In Kathmandu, members of the Rashtriya Prajatantra Party marched through the streets holding banners condemning Pakistan's support for terrorism. Various organizations, including Nepali Nagrik Abhiyan and Nagrik Yuva Shakti Nepal, also staged a protest near the Pakistan embassy in Kathmandu on Saturday. According to sources, protesters handed over a note to the Pakistan embassy condemning the terrorist attack and demanding that Pakistan stop supporting terrorism. A candlelight vigil was held in Auckland to honour the lives lost and those affected by the recent terror attack in Kashmir. These visuals coming from Auckland, New Zealand.
even oceans away. In this moment of collective grief, people far away from their homeland in Auckland led this peaceful candle vigil, praying for the departed souls and proving that distances will never dim our solidarity.
Bharat Mata ki Jai!
Thank you, Rahul, for organizing this evening. It is very important we come out and support. As it has been mentioned that we all stand in solidarity with India. What has happened in Pahalgam is unacceptable, and we want an answer to be taken from those who are responsible of this incident. And we believe that Indian government will take appropriate actions against those who are responsible for this. With these words, once again from New Zealand, the message which I would like to convey is that we are with India. We are.
The Consulate General of India in Edinburgh held a solemn remembrance ceremony in memory of those killed in the Pahalgam terrorist attack. The members of the Indian community in Scotland gathered in solidarity with India and against the scourge of terrorism. The Indian diaspora members also observed a moment of silence, prayed and paid tributes to the innocent lives lost in the Pahalgam terrorist attack. In Germany, the Embassy of India in Berlin also organized an event on Friday in memory of the loss of innocent lives in Pahalgam terror attack. Indian Ambassador to Germany, Ajit Gupte, addressed the gathering and offered heartfelt tributes to the victims. Representatives from the German Foreign Office, Federal Ministry of Labour and Social Affairs, Defence Ministry, members of diplomatic corps, including defence attaches, Indian diaspora and Friends of India paid homage to victims, expressing solidarity with India. In Australia, Indian diaspora held a march to protest against the Pahalgam terrorist attack. In Copenhagen, the Indian diaspora members paid tributes to the innocent lives lost in the Pahalgam terrorist attack.
Pakistan's terror.
India's Information and Broadcasting Ministry has issued an advisory to all media channels to refrain from showing live coverage of anti-terrorist operations and movement of security forces in the interest of national security. It said media, digital platforms and individuals play a vital role in safeguarding national security. The ministry asked them to refrain from reporting based on sources-based information related to defence operations or movement. It said premature disclosure of sensitive information may inadvertently assist hostile elements and endanger operational effectiveness and the safety of its security personnel. Meanwhile, Pakistani army troops again violated ceasefire along the line of control in Kashmir for the second consecutive day today. According to the Indian Army, on the intervening night of April 25th, 26th, unprovoked small firing was carried out by multiple Pakistan army posts all across the LOC. The Indian Army retaliated appropriately to firing with small arms. There was no reports of any casualties so far. In the state of Gujarat, police have detained around 1,000 illegal nationals from Ahmedabad and Surat for allegedly residing in India using forged documents. The sweeping operation, which took place in the early hours of Saturday, was led by multiple enforcement units and local police teams. Officials confirmed that all detainees lacked valid documentation and had used falsified papers to settle in India. Now, in a major push for India's journey towards becoming a developed nation by 2047, Prime Minister Narendra Modi distributed over 51,000 appointment letters across key ministries, marking a significant step in youth empowerment, employment generation and inclusive growth under Rozgar Mela via video conferencing. Prime Minister Modi said that inclusivity of the Indian youth is a key factor in their development in the country, highlighting the responsibility of the youth in strengthening the country's economic system, internal security, building modern infrastructure and improving the lives of laborers.
आपके कार्य का मकसद केवल पद प्राप्त करना नहीं है। आपका पद भारत के हर नागरिक की सेवा करने और देश की प्रगति में अपना योगदान देने के लिए है। अभी कुछ दिन पहले सिविल सर्विसेज डे पर मैंने एक मंत्र दिया था और मैंने कहा था कि हम सरकार में जितने भी लोग हैं, हमारे लिए तो एक ही मंत्र सर्वोपरि होना चाहिए और वो मंत्र है नागरिक देवो भव। नागरिक देवो भव। नागरिक की सेवा ही आपके लिए, हम सब के लिए देव पूजा के समान है।
Union Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav and Minister of State Dr. Jitendra Singh also distributed appointment letters to the newly recruited youth in New Delhi under the Rozgar Mela. Lauding Prime Minister Modi's leadership, Ashwini Vaishnav said that the newly recruited youth need to work towards the development of the country.
मोदी जी ने 2014 में आने के बाद में पहले देश को एक गंभीर आर्थिक संकट से बाहर निकाला। समाज के कई क्षेत्रों में जो कमजोरियां थी उनको मजबूत किया, कई तरह के रिफॉर्म्स किए। सरकार का जो समाज के प्रति दायित्व है उसमें एक बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन है।
India has made significant progress in reducing poverty, with extreme poverty measured at $2.15 per day in purchasing power parity (PPP) terms, falling from 16% in 2011 to 2.3% in 2022-23, according to the World Bank. The decline lifted 171 million people above the international comparable poverty line. In a brief on poverty and equity, the multilateral lender noted that rural extreme poverty in India fell from 18.4% to 2.8%, while urban extreme poverty dropped from 10.7% to 1.1% during the same period. The rural-urban gap narrowed from 7.7 to 1.7 percentage points, translating to an annual decline of 16% in this divide. So, according to the latest World Bank report, India is witnessing a positive trend in job growth. Since the 2021-22 fiscal year, employment in the country has grown at a faster pace than the working age population. The report said that a significant aspect of this growth is the rising participation of women in the workforce. It also noted a sharp fall in urban unemployment. In the first quarter of 2024-25 financial year, urban unemployment dropped to 6.6%, the lowest level recorded since 2017-18. Another major trend observed is the shift in worker movement. For the first time since 2018-19, more men are migrating from rural areas to cities in search of employment. At the same time, rural women are increasingly taking up jobs in agriculture, indicating a shift in employment patterns across the country. The report also highlighted a rise in self-employment, particularly among rural workers and women. Defence Research and Development Laboratory (DRDL), a Hyderabad-based laboratory of India's Defence Research and Development Organisation (DRDO), has achieved a significant milestone in the field of hypersonic weapon technology. DRDL conducted long-duration active-cooled scramjet subscale combustor ground testing for more than 1,000 seconds at the newly built state-of-the-art Scramjet Connect test facility at Hyderabad on Friday. The ground test is in continuation of the earlier test reported for 120 seconds in January 2025. With the successful test, the system will be soon ready for full-scale flight-worthy combustor testing. In a major boost to the electronics sector, Electronics and IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav on Saturday launched the Electronics Component Manufacturing Scheme Guidelines and an online portal in New Delhi. Speaking at the event, the minister highlighted that electronics manufacturing has grown fivefold and exports have surged 6 times over the past decade. He urged the industry to set up dedicated design teams to strengthen the sector further. The new scheme aims to attract investments of over 59,000 crore rupees, create more than 91,000 direct jobs and boost domestic value addition by linking Indian firms to global value chains. Incentives under the scheme will be based on direct job creation, capital expenditure and company turnover. You're watching DD India. Still to come on the show. Efforts are underway to revive nuclear diplomacy between the United States and Iran in Muscat. After the White House fiasco, US President Donald Trump meets his Ukrainian counterpart Zelensky in Rome. Washington calls the meeting very productive. A US judge arrested by officials amid a dispute with the Trump administration over immigration enforcement.
You already dance to Bollywood music at weddings. Now imagine the whole world dancing to our stories too. World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit Waves is where we make Indian entertainment truly international. तो जल्दी तैयार हो जाइए दुनिया को अपनी धुन पर नचाने के लिए. बस 7 दिन और.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. On Saturday, several containers at a key Iranian port exploded, causing a major blast and fire and leaving 516 people injured. State media confirmed the massive explosion at Shahid Rajai, the country's largest commercial port, and reported that authorities are working to extinguish the fire and that evacuation efforts are underway. Located more than 1,000 kilometers south of the capital Tehran, Shahid Rajai is Iran's most advanced container port. Fresh efforts are underway to revive nuclear diplomacy between the United States and Iran as top negotiators began the third round of talks on Saturday in Muscat. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and US Middle East Envoy Steve Witkoff are engaged in indirect negotiations through Omani mediators. Talks include a technical level meeting between experts from both sides with a larger aim at drafting a framework for a deal to limit Tehran's nuclear activities. Tehran is willing to negotiate some curbs on its nuclear work in return for the lifting of sanctions. However, ending or surrendering its enriched uranium stockpile are among Iran's non-negotiables. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his US counterpart Donald Trump met briefly on Saturday in Rome on the sidelines of Pope Francis' funeral. The meeting marked their first face-to-face encounter since their disastrous Oval Office meeting. The White House called Saturday's Trump-Zelensky meeting very productive. It also comes at a critical time in negotiations aimed at ending the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Earlier on Friday, US President Donald Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff met Russian President Vladimir Putin for 3 hours in Moscow to discuss the US plan to end the conflict in Ukraine. Trump said the two sides were very close to a deal despite apparent differences in their positions. In a social media post, Trump stated that it was a good day of talks and called for a high-level meeting between Kiev and Moscow to close a deal. He also mentioned that most key points have been agreed upon and urged an immediate end to the bloodshed. Further, the Russian army has fully liberated the border Kursk region from Ukrainian control. Chief of Staff Valery Gerasimov told Russian President Vladimir Putin on Saturday. Kiev had hoped that it could use the land in Kursk region as a bargaining chip in future peace talks with Russia.
последним событиям.
Отдельно хочу отметить участие в освобождении приграничных районов Курской области военнослужащих
И на других важнейших участках фронта приближает.
Thanking the soldiers for the service, Putin said the Kiev regime's adventure has completely failed and Kursk liberation will create the conditions for further advances at other parts of the front. Russian troops are now at the border and are poised to beef up threats to the Ukrainian region of Sumy, which faces Kursk, where Moscow has already carried out incursions in recent weeks. Moving on, a Wisconsin judge was arrested by U.S. officials amid a dispute between the Trump administration and local officials over immigration enforcement on Friday. A Wisconsin judge was arrested and charged with aiding a defendant in evading immigration authorities. According to the U.S. Justice Department, Judge Hannah Duggan allegedly obstructed immigration agents by letting defendant Eduardo Flores Ruiz exit her courtroom through a side door, helping him briefly evade arrest. He was later apprehended outside the courthouse. Meanwhile, following the judge's arrest, Trump stated that the courts are hindering his administration's efforts.
That's a terrible thing. The judge was arrested because he was housing a trendy Iroquois, right? Is that the one you're talking about? It's pretty surprising. It's terrible. We have hundreds of thousands of people that we want to get out of the country, and the courts are holding us back. Some judge that nobody ever heard of is holding us back. It's very dangerous for our country. I mean, you want to see a country that'll have crime? Let that happen, because it's really dangerous for our country, and I can't believe the Supreme Court would let that stand.
The Israeli army on Saturday said that a missile was launched from Yemen into Israeli territory, adding that aerial defense systems were working to intercept it. In a statement, the Israeli army said sirens sounded in a number of areas in Israel following the launch. Meanwhile, there was no immediate comment from Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis. The Animation Filmmakers Challenge of the Wave Summit is a key segment designed to spotlight and support India's next generation of creative storytellers in the field of animation. Animation filmmaker Shweta Subhash Marathe, based in Mumbai, has been recognized as one of the top 42 finalists in the Animation Filmmakers Challenge at the World Audiovisual and Entertainment Wave Summit.
Shweta Marathe, a talented animation filmmaker and design educator based from Mumbai, Maharashtra, has been announced as one of the shortlisted finalists in the Animation Filmmakers Challenge. Her animated short film, Melting Shame, delves into the profound theme of abuse and the associated stigma, aiming to resonate with teenagers and young adults.
So Melting Shame is an animated short film of 12 minutes and it deals with the shame associated with abuse for teenagers and young adults. And the process, I mean, it's a very personal story, and right now we've finished the screenwriting drafts and we have begun with like storyboarding it and pitching it to investors, distributors, and beginning into the production of it.
Shweta will pitch Melting Shame to potential co-producers and distributors as she believes the summit, supported by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting and organized by Dancing Atoms, offers a platform for creators to showcase their work and engage with industry leaders.
I think Waves is an amazing platform for creators like me. Like, it gives us a platform to showcase our work, our projects to investors and distributors, and like it's a great way where we can connect with buyers who are actually interested in our projects, and it will help us in development of this whole industry.
This challenge represents India's growing ambition to become a global powerhouse in animation and digital storytelling.
The Waves Animation Filmmakers Competition is a transformative platform empowering Indian storytellers for fostering innovation and global recognition in animation and VFX. With camera person Swapnil, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Mumbai.
The WAVE Summit is set to take place in Mumbai from 1st to 4th of May. With that, we end this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.